Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We got some old men here tonight, back reassembled to discuss some Pokemon VGC Draft League. I hope you guys brought your safety goggles. You're going to need them. We got some, rough terrain ahead. We got some killer teams that can damage your eyes because of how beautiful they are. Need those goggles to really, protect the retinas. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Sukaba. We've been making these for a lot of seasons in a row now. Happy to continue the tradition. I'm joined by two of the oldest and most wise members of the server. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Pancake Mix. This is my first time on an old review, even though I had the title of old the whole time. With Paldea Pancakes.
All right.
And I'm here as well.
Ooh, the crack.
I no longer have to back up my opinions with battles because I've moved into the broadcasting phase of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. You retired. You moved into broadcasting just like Brady. All goats got to retire one day.
Yeah, Brady's got a lot of rings though.
Yeah. Well,
I made playoffs a couple times.
Yeah, but Brady's not a doctor, so come on.
That's right.
You can't even compare. I'm drinking a Samuel Adams Oktoberfest in the spirit of fall tonight. So.
Well.
I'm drinking water.
If you come here, you can have whatever you want, as long as it's a Corona.
Hell yeah. Are you a lime guy in the Corona? Do you add a little citrus flair?
If I had a lime, I would. Yeah, totally.
Okay. I like a Corona with a good lime. It really ties it together.
I tend to just buy a lime when I need a lime for something, and don't usually just have limes lying around.
Understandable. But hey, let's talk turkey. I mean, we got some 16 teams ahead of us tonight in the Goggles Conference. We're going to have some more old men joining us later, but we're going to get started right away with a very good team by our fearless leader, Samax. So,
yeah.
JDB, what's going on here?
So this is a team that it's kind of a very solid, reliable, gonna be a problem for every opponent team, right? It's got strong offensive options in most of the team, right? Mousehold, Hydreigon, Salazzle, Excadrill, Azumarill, Trevenant, Jolteon, Tauros, some of the time, Frostmoth in specific circumstances, Reuniclus, solid offense. A good spread across the speed tiers, right? We bottom out at 30 with reasonable things to take advantage of that in Hippowdon, Reuniclus, and Azumarill a lot of the time. Top up at Jolteon, we've got a fast fake out. This team has a lot going for it. It's gonna be, in my opinion, a team that Samax is going to win or lose with in prep and play, though. He picked good Pokemon, but he picked Pokemon that he's going to have to utilize correctly, because a lot of these Mons could just as easily as they could be offensive, threatening Pokemon. They can the temptation is there with a lot of these Pokemon to overload on, I just need stab and protect and 2 support moves, and then you get a Terra Ghost you weren't expecting, and now Mousehold does nothing, and Excadrill can't stay in the sand and it can't do anything, and your Azumarill gets taunted so it can't belly drum. So this is a team that I like. I think it's good. I think it's cool. It's got Pokemon I like, and Samax is going to have to play well and prep well to win with it.
Yeah, I agree. I like a lot of these Pokemon. I'm looking at Salazzle. Salazzle I'm a big fan of. It's got the fast fake out. It's got just enough special attack. And it's got my favorite move of all time, Dragon Cheer, for this Hydreigon, which it's a little bit faster than. Am I right? Yeah, it's faster than, so it can set that up. And I think a thing that I'm worried about. I looked at Frostmoth so many times, and unfortunately I'm just not a believer in Frostmoth. I think it has 2 good abilities. I think it has great special attack. I think it dies as soon as you hit it. It dies. It has 2/4 weaknesses, so it dies to coverage on good typings. I'm just worried about the Frostmoth, but it probably doesn't have to come all the time.
Yeah, it's a 3-point mon. I mean, it wouldn't be an olds review if we weren't nitpicking
right.
over 3-point Pokemon. But
That's right.
That's true. We got all these
it
heavy
is a
hitters here.
3-point
But
Pokemon.
Frostmoth, though, I mean, I don't. Yeah, honestly, when I see a Frostmoth, I get scared. I mean, it might be
It's
irrational.
respectable.
Every time I see like a Frostmoth, a Venomoth, any one of those bugs that gets like Quiver Dance, I kind of like shake a little bit. I'm like, I need to kill this thing before it just styles all over me. But this team doesn't really need to like, have those end mons be the primary focus. I really like that the Excadrill doesn't have to be a Sandmon. I think it kind of gets like pillowed in as like the Sand Abuser because it's one of the best Pokemon that has Sand Rush. But it's honestly just pretty good even without Sand because, this is like what people think they're getting when they draft Dugtrio Alola, where they're like, hey, I got my ground steel type. Except Excadrill can actually live a hit because it has 110 HP stat. And I don't know. I really like the Excadrill on this team. I like adding the Hippo later on to get the Sand. You've got Intimidate. You've got really good, the top three, the Salazzle and the Hydreigon synergize really well with each other. The Mouse Hold is going to be allowing these mons to set up. You could get Swords Dance Excadrill with Mouse, follow me, switch in the Hippo. Now you've got a +2 double speed Excadrill, and you're cooking. Like, there's a lot of heat here.
Sash Mousehold next to Frostmoth might be enough for 2 Quiver Dances, and then actually I'm very afraid of Frostmoth.
Yeah, see? All of a sudden that 65 speed is good.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
We cracked the code, guys. You'll beat Sam X's team. You just got to prep for Frostmoth.
Yeah, just Quiver Dance twice, guys.
Wait, but hold on.
Yeah.
But what about Rock Slide entering the chat for a moment?
That's then Frostmoth
or
goes
any
over.
spread move. But
right.
Yeah.
That's besides the point.
Rock Slide, Heat Wave. It's fine. It's fine. You can't Rock Slide. You can't Rock Slide Excadrill, and you can't Heat Wave Azumarill. They're still setting up.
Yeah. I like that this team has like multiple options for things. Like you have 2 good Trick Room setters in the Trevenant and the Reuniclus, and both of them are actually offensive in their own way where they're able to take advantage of the speed control. I think a trap people fall into a lot with Trick Room setters is that like they grab a cheap Trick Room setter that really can only set Trick Room, and then a lot of people just ignore it. Like you let them set up Trick Room, and now you're basically in a 3v4 because your Trick Room mon is useless. So I think getting offensive Trick Room setters is a good move, and there's 2 really good ones here that can synergize together with each other. He could even lead both of them, and then if you had a plan to stop Trick Room, you can taunt one. Who knows? You might get the 50-50 wrong. But good speed tiers, good fast mode, good slow mode. It's a pretty good team, guys.
Yeah, I like it.
Every Pokemon on this team does at least 2 things well, right? Mousehold can be defensive support. It can also be population bomb, nuke offense. Hydreigon can be bulky tailwind and switch in for ground types. It can also be strong bulky special attacker. Salazzle can be fake out taunt, thunder wave. It can also be sludge bomb and fire blast with a sash or something like that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these mons do 2 things and do 2 things well. The more we talk about this team, the more I'm liking it. Actually, I was kind of like, this is a bunch of solid mons that are gonna be good tools to use if they can be used well. And I'm coming up on this team the more we talk about it.
Do we see any major weaknesses we want to point out before we just throw this thing in the pretty high tiers? Like, how do you beat this team when you look at this in prep? Is there an easy way? Maybe not.
Faster tailwind, but also ready for Trick Room. It does have some pretty speedy mons. Like 98 as its 5th slowest mon is actually really fast for this format.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely scary, and knowing that like there's like 4 different setup modes that you have to be ready for to get around Mousehold, I think it might be tough.
All right.
So I think part of the way you're going to beat this team is us talking about it and hyping it up is going to get in Sam Ax's head, and then Sam Ax is going to second guess himself.
So the Sam Ax ego boost is the real killer here.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
Sam,
Like,
actually,
yeah.
drafted a great team. I'm so excited to see you in playoffs. It's gonna be great.
I think I'm
I do fear that this might be a team that doesn't show up in weekly heat very often because it's just like
standard
good
good
mons
stuff.
doing things reliably.
Yeah.
Not
Hey, you come on. Dragon Cheer Salazzle's going to be in there at some point. You know it.
Oh, what a fun one.
What a fun one. I'm going to put
Yeah,
this in
it's
top.
fun.
I'm going to put it at A tier for now.
yeah,
I think
I've got
A
an
tier
A
for now.
tier.
I don't know
and-
how the rest of the teams are going to stack up. You know, if I end up at the end feeling like this is the best, I might bump it up to S. But for now, I'm going to put it in A as a solid baseline for a good team. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Next team, we've got a returning coach, an original founding member. This is like the founding fathers returning from the dead. We've got Shadowfax coming back with his Brooklyn Kangas. Pancake, what's
Yeah.
up? Primarina Garchomp. Samax's
Yeah.
Armageddon,
Yeah,
his
so-
worst nightmare.
Yeah, so this team off the jump is looking really, really scary. Primarina, we know, is like one of the best water types. It's got Stab Moonblast, it's got Spread Liquid Voice, it's got Spread Hyper Voice. I think that's gonna be a really, really powerful thing. Garchomp, we know, gets a Sword Dance, starts being really, really scary. And then we have like our prankster Tailwind. I love a prankster Tailwind. That is like my go-to thing. I'm a Tailwind player. Prankster Tailwind also has a bunch of other support moves. And then of course we've got our like nice little Disquake mode with our Rotom. We've got Corviknight to deter like Corviknight Garchomp is also a great lead because you can set up the slower Tailwind, but you also deter any Intimidates coming into your main physical attacker. And Corviknight can go after anyone with any ice moves that you're worried about. And then we've got PZ, Porygon Z. This Mon with just like it's got a stab 130 Terra Blast, am I right? Am I seeing that number right? 135? Excuse
yeah,
me?
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
yeah,
Stab
135.
Stab 135 can bolt beam really nicely. Like Porygon Z is just always going to have like stab or coverage for your Mon. It just puts out a lot of damage, especially with where Specs and Sash really Specs and Scarf really nicely. And then finally, if we really want to set up, if we want to make sure we get that Sword Stance off, if we want to make sure that we get our Primarina throw off, we've got Follow Me on an Electivire who can then turn around and start wild charging. So I think this is a pretty nice move. Oh, and also look who's next to Electivire. This Poltegeist. We love a Shell Smash. Can definitely start getting in there. I think like this, like these top 9 Mons, I think I'm like very happy to bring every week. Maybe like Poltegeist the least, but Poltegeist is still a threat when it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I love to see some, a Garchomp team that has some ways to spam Earthquake. I know it doesn't always have to, but to me it feels like, Garchomp is always a weird mon for me, but I never like picking it because I feel like the ground stab is so awkward. Like, not to mention it's 4x weakness to ice, but with Terra, that's not as big of a deal. You could Terra Steel this thing, but I don't know. I feel like to really get the most out of this Pokemon, you need good Earthquake partners. A Rotom form is excellent. I like Rotom Heat as a way to deal with grass types that the Garchomp might not be able to hit very well. Have that Levitate, be able to Disquake, really strong Disquake option. I like the Corviknight next to the Garchomp as a way to set speed control for it, dodge that Earthquake. But, the Primarina and the Garchomp also just is a good core to start a team, I think. They cover each other really well. They're able to kind of, protect each other's weaknesses in a way. Primarina can't really hit those steel types. Garchomp loves to hit steel types with those, ground moves. So I think the question really just comes, what's this team's win condition every week? Is it just activating the fast mode with Volbeat? Because I feel like maybe the one thing that it might struggle with is just that the slow mode is not excellent. Your Trick Room setters are 2 mons that ideally want to be used offensively. The lowest speed tier you have is 58. A lot of teams are going to have mons lower than that in the 50s and 40s and 30s that they're going to be able to abuse you in. Not seeing a ton of strong priority either as a way to deal with Trick Room. So I guess I'm really wondering, is this team strong enough to outlast Trick Room and win anyway, if that's the game plan for the week?
Yeah, it might need to pull out some of those like secondary trick room tricks with roar and willow and whirlwind, as opposed to just going in on taunts and something like that.
I
Yeah, it's
wonder.
definitely got those options, right? Scrafty roars, Garchomp roars, Quarter Night whirlwinds, plenty. You know, we got some
Yeah.
Scrafty fake out. There's plenty of taunt running around. I'm sure, well, a couple at least. Electivire, Corv, and Scrafty. This team is like probably the clearest example of our like discounting of pretty good but not top tier Pokemon that has been happening over the last number of seasons. There are 3 Pokemon on this team below 10 points, and 2 of them are 1-point Bagmons. So really, there's one, and like
Yeah,
on previous boards, this could have been a 125-point team, depending
very true.
on like tiering philosophy at the time. This is an example, I would say, of like finding value, but not at the expense of like presence, right?
Yeah,
Like these Pokemon can do things.
yeah, I agree.
It's another nice one, and I mean, it's a we're looking at only 9 Mons here, but this doesn't feel like a team that's missing stuff because it only has 9 Mons.
Right.
Hello, Jordan. Jordan's arrived, my friends. A new old has entered the battle here.
Jordan, you're clearly saying things that you feel very strongly about, but we can't hear any of them.
You are muted. Yes, it's true. And I'm going to edit your camera so that you're visible to the lovely people. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm excited about this team. I think it's gonna be able to just like
Oops, went the wrong way.
like a fast tailwind is I'm always ready for, or I'm always excited about anything that can just start going.
Hi, Pancake Mix. How are you?
Hey, I
Hello,
can hear you now.
hello, the Jordan.
What I was
How's it
saying
been?
was, I walk into Dr. James Dalton Bell dropping science over here, dropping bangers, and I'm like, it's Old's tier list time. What's
That's
up?
right.
Some
Going
straight
well.
How you doing?
facts.
This team is fucking great. This team is full of incredible Pokemon. End of story.
Yeah.
Incredible. How much we valued these mons throughout history, and now they're all here and affordable in the same team.
That's what we were just talking
Infinite
about.
combinations you can do on this team.
I guess
That's my verdict.
the one thing we were trying to figure out was the Trick Room matchup's a little rough given the speed tiers and the lack of good setters
We
itself.
got Encore, we got Taunt, we got it all. We good.
Yeah,
we
just
got
don't let him
not
set
wrong.
Trick Room.
We got
Don't let him set
Porygon
Trick Room.
Z can reverse a Trick Room. Scrafty can fake out Intimidate through a Trick Room. We can Wisp through Trick Room.
All right.
Primarina
Yeah.
is God.
You got me on board.
Yes,
All right.
Shadowfax
For me,
disappears for
I mean,
4
probably in all likelihood, high tier. I mean, like, yeah, maybe are there teams that are more explosive than this? Maybe or maybe not.
Maybe.
Well, probably. I mean, there's
Probably.
a team with Ursaluna Blood Moon out there somewhere,
Yeah.
Fair.
and it doesn't take much support to make that
All right.
Pokemon
High A
look
for
really
me to
great.
start.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I'm gonna put this right below Samax's team for now.
I agree.
The top of A tier. With the potential to move depending on how things develop here. But yeah, 2 really good teams to start off the review tonight. We got a new team coming up right now. I'm switching over tabs to the Toronto Maple Leavannys Tuxmucks. Here we go. We got the Fire Cat. Is it worth 18 points in Regulation H? What do we think?
Probably not, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. Like anytime Incineroar's on a team, Incineroar gets to do Incineroar things. And often Incineroar things are like not win the game outright. It's really help enable and help set up other mons. And so if the other mons can do the game winning, then the Incineroar is going to look like it's got big value.
So how does the Incineroar enable this team to win? Like, what are the big threats here? I'm seeing the Basculegion. I'm seeing the Typhlosion, which are, 2 potentially explosive Pokemon. You could put a Scarf on either one. You got an Eruption. You've got Wave Crash. You got Noivern for maybe some fast weather. Amoonguss for some more Rage Powder, Redirection, Disruption, Mimikyu, nice Trick Room setter. So,
Man.
there's interesting stuff going on here. I'm just not entirely sure I see the full picture. Maybe you guys can help me understand.
I mean, so Incineroar, Amoonguss, Mimikyu, Snorlax was like a top tier Gen 7 team. Like you take that to a regionals as 4 of your 6 with like, I don't know, a dragon and a good water type. And like but that was also the we had Z moves then, and
that was
Snorlax
before
had,
before the
you got a
disguise nerf.
Legion, so you got
before
Gen
the
9 in
disguise nerf and stuff like that. But I mean, these are Pokemon with like real pedigree, right? And
one question for y'all: how much faith do y'all have in Noivern? Because I'm pretty sure the answer for Tux is infinite, because that's how much weight is on Noivern to carry this team into pass mode.
Yeah, Noivern has a lot of things to do. I like Noivern. It is one of the fastest sort of like unlike non-fancy tailwind setters in a lot of formats. It can wear Sash really nicely. It's really happy to wear Sash, take a hit, go down to Sash, set Tailwind, and then Draco Meteor on the way out. Is a fine thing for it. It has like people next to it that if you want to run like Terra Normal Boom Burst Noivern, you've got Basculegion and Mimikyu around, so you can actually do stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, Noivern definitely is going to be the thing that enables the fast mode. That's the only tailwind. Yeah, gonna be tough to like have the right item on it. Like, does it want Sash or does it want Cloak? And if it picks the wrong one, it might be in trouble.
The specs Noivern Boom Burst when it also needs to be your Tailwind and your Sunny Day, and your Breaking Sway, and your Draco.
Nope, it's busy. It's busy.
It's very busy.
I think you probably just make the Toxtricity.
Kind of do it on its own, but like Incineroar can't even outspeed the format Scarfed anymore. Like Toxtricity can get outscarfed very easily, and so the team just doesn't have quite enough on that end. I love Espathra as an addition. Espathra brings infinite speed at home, but it can't always gift it to others. If you can outscarf this team, like this team's gonna get outscarfed a lot. If it doesn't get outscarfed, it's very strong. If it wins in Trick Room, fantastic. I think there's something we could do to not abandon the default way Pokemon is played, which is pretty fast.
I think this is a team that's either gonna like 4-0 or like struggle. Like I feel like if it doesn't get its damage plan off, like, hey, I'm running Sunny Day Typhlosion with Eruption. I'm running Scarf Typhlosion. I'm running Scarf Toxtricity, Scarf Basculegion. Like, if they find a way to, like, break that, I feel like this team falls apart a bit. I mean, you do have some defensive tools to reposition with, like, the Amoonguss and the Incineroar, but I don't know. Like, to me, it just feels like there's a couple modes here that are, like, all in, and I'm missing, like, the just good old reliable, this is going to do damage every week in this way.
It took you pointing out the Amoonguss. The Amoonguss is clutch here, and definitely the whole rest of the team, most of the rest of the team, punishes Terragrass pretty hard.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see
and Glaceon and Noivern.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see weeks where it's like, oh yeah, Incineroar sets up to like protect the Espathra so it can get going. Oh, and Amoonguss is here to like Rage Powder the Espathra so the Espathra can keep going. And like I wonder if we'll just like see like 3 supports for Espathra or 3 supports for Glaceon to actually get some wins out.
Yeah, I like
We're gonna rely on misdirection at times.
Yeah, it's tough that a lot of the Pokemon that Tux is going to want to bring most weeks, Basculegion, Mimikyu, probably Espathra, are like sharing weaknesses, right? Incineroar, Typhlosion, Toxtricity, all weak to ground types. Basque, Mimikyu, Espathra, all weak to Dark and Ghost. Everything on the team, weak to Rock. Like, it is rough to have, like, you can have multiple Pokemon with a weakness, and it's generally not that big of a deal, right? You're only going to bring, one of Incineroar and Typhlosion, and then maybe also Toxtricity, but you also have Amoonguss and Noivern, so the ground weakness isn't that big of a deal. But the fact that most of the team can get targeted with just a few offensive types is going to free up Tux's opponents to be able to bring a lot more flexibility against Tux than Tux is going to be able to bring against his opponents.
One positive thing I'll say is that this Basky Legion as part of your Firewater Grass Cooler looks kind of sick, honestly. It could be really, really strong. It's why I've drafted it as well. But the adaptability is just like it's very limiting. You got to be using the water and the ghost moves, but it really is. It's a delete button very often, and so it's gonna maybe free up some of these more ambitious plans involving Toxtricity, Shift Gearing, or Typhlosion, or whatever, just by, like, it's always a nuisance if it's always threatening you with a wave crash.
Or just being like, all right, my plan didn't work, and so now my new plan is adaptability, last respects. Let's see if you can
Boom!
let's see if you can hit your protects appropriately, right? It's just coming on in.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like this team. I think it's a little more exploitable than the other two we looked at. So I'm thinking B tier for me right now at the moment. But
yeah, I think it's a high C or low B.
Good stuff for me though.
What's it at?
I think it's gonna stay in C, but it depends where we calibrate. It's gonna be spicy because it's Tux. So regardless, that's the factor that isn't power ranked here.
True that. All right, moving on. Next team we've got Spinnerack.
Keep it moving here.
First
All right,
pick
so
Dragonite.
yeah, first pick Dragonite. I love. Dragonite was for a long time, I think, an underrated draft Pokemon that has really gotten to, because it got the additional gift of Terra, now everybody respects all the other good things it can do. But overall, this team feels like a really good draft league team for a lower power format than this draft board is.
Volcarona to the moon.
There's just not really enough, so like the lower and sort of bottom-ish tier mons, the Frostlass, Piloswine, to a certain extent Primeape, stuff like that, are like good, they're pretty good, but there's not really a ton of like solid core that is going to allow those other Pokemon to come when they're useful and sit at home when they're not. I think Spinnerack is probably going to have to bring some Pokemon that they don't necessarily want to sometimes just to have enough offense, right? You're going to have to bring a Dragonite in a week when you're facing, a strong ice type. What strong ice types are in the format? Or a Rhyperior, or whatever the, you're gonna have to bring Volcarona even though you're facing Rhyperior, stuff like that, right? You're gonna have to bring Ninetales Alola even though you're facing Excadrill this week, right?
Explosion.
And sure, so. That's not to say there isn't good stuff on this team, right? Klefki, good. Primeape, Frostlass, Primeape is a multi-season logo MVP. Dragonite, good, and people respect it now. Overquill, good. Slowbro, good. Yeah. Breloom, fast Spore. Piloswine, pretty decent value for points.
Yeah.
The list of good is very, very long for this team.
Yeah.
I would agree. Maybe
so,
we don't see the vision. Maybe Spinnerack is living in the fifth dimension.
If
you ask yourself, does this team has X? The answer is probably yes. And so it's just about how they bring it together. We don't see things that, don't we have a lot of speed tiers to work with? Don't we have a lot of move pool to work with? Don't we have a lot of stats and intimidate? A chef can just use all of these interesting ingredients and just make something bizarre that they're only going to bring for one match. And I think this team has basically everything it needs, doesn't it? It has power to the speed. It has... Yeah. So how much synergy do we need? Do we, that's the overall question that I'm grappling with. Because I still agree on vibes with what JDB is saying. That it's I still feel like I would want to be able to identify the direction of the team better too. But if you just have all the numbers, don't you win? If you just use them well with all the tools that you have at your disposal?
Yeah, there's one thing about this team that confuses me a bit, and that's the presence of Klefki and Ninetales together, because I feel like a lot of times they're fulfilling the same niche where it's why do you have Ninetales on this team? I think a lot of the time it's for fast Aurora Veil, right? And it's like, what is Klefki doing on a team? Most of the time you're paying 13 points for Klefki because it has prankster screens. So it's like, I don't really see a scenario where both of those things coexist. Like, I don't know, that and that's like relevant because those are two of the most expensive mons on the team. Like, we have 14 points for Ninetales, 13 points for Klefki. Like, I feel like I'd almost like the team a little better if one of those was another like big damage dealer, like a big attacker that you can put in. But that being said, like, despite the fact that we have a little bit of role competition, like, the team looks pretty good. Like, I'm actually like, usually when you see someone invest in two overlapping pieces, like, the rest of the team looks like it suffers. Here, I'm not exactly seeing that. Like, it really does seem decent. You know, we got good combos with the Frostlass, the Primate. You know, we saw Camo, that was like his bread and butter for a whole season. And that's just like a side mode on this team.
2 seasons.
Yeah, so I like it. It's just that I think could be a little better point spent personally. But maybe I'm not seeing the vision, like Jordan said.
Yeah, I think I would like to see like one more Dragonite type Pokemon on the team. And I just don't think there is like, not necessarily. I mean, you know, Dragonite is very good, right? I mean, it's got, you know, it's 134, it's got extreme speed, it's got solid typing, multi-scale is great, inner focus is great. Like, Dragonite does a lot and it loves Terra. But I would like to see something else that people have to be like, okay, I've got my Dragonite plan. Now I need to have a second Pokemon plan. And I just don't really know that there's something else people are going to have to, you know, focus their attention on to beat. That kind of lets your other Pokemon do important, relevant stuff. So, pretty good.
I have a proposal for Spinarak.
Yeah, let's hear
what
it.
if they dropped Ninetales and picked up Quaquaval and earned 1 point and gained a fire resist and an ice resist and a rock resist and just a sweeper with Volcarona, and then like Scraggy and Primeape, turn them into one Pokemon and something else, because they're both fulfilling similar roles that Quaquaval now has.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Well, then you lose your snow mode. I'm looking at.
We're to go all in on Klefki. Sukaba and I are both Klefki believers.
I'll tell you what, the season I had Klefki, I had Quaquaval and Dragonite, and it was quite a successful season. So I can attest, screens are really good when you have sweepers, especially of the caliber of Dragonite and Quaquaval. Although I will say that this team does lean very physical, where it's like, you know, you have Volcarona as your big boy special attacker, but a lot of times Volcarona wants to be doing other things besides clicking its powerful special attacking moves. So I think a lot of times you can just plan for this team by bringing Will-O-Wisp and bringing the, you know, Reflex and stuff. That being said, you know, we do have Rage Powder on a fire immune Mon, which is nice to redirect those Will-O-Wisps. I don't see, there's no like anti-intimidate, right? No Defiant or anything competitive, I don't think.
Yeah, just inner focus.
Oh yeah, Primate, Defiant.
Yeah, Primate, Defiant. But
so, yeah, definitely some flaws, but you know, the template is there. I feel like for a really good team.
Yeah, this might be a team where after like 1 or 2 weeks, we see some transactions that are like, yeah, now we're cooking.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment. It's gonna stay in B because I believe.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is this logo.
I think we're all more or less in the same.
Yeah. No.
On the same.
Yeah.
Page here for these so far.
Put it slightly below Tux's, I think. They're like pretty similar though for me.
Yeah, fair.
All right, moving on. We're halfway through the first division. Next up, we've got J Star. Made a pretty deep playoff run last season, if I recall correctly. And now we're back at it with some Dragapult Porygon 2 action. What's going on here?
This team looks, in some senses, genius, and in many senses, drunk. And so is it drunk genius? The team is all over the place. I mean, like, we have 142 speed and we have 15 speed. We have Porygon 2, the god. Like, the stats with Eviolite, my god, it's a bug. What happened? So it can scale, like, anything that can't recover, Porygon 2 can beat. Even close combats it can beat. So you just need to make sure it doesn't get taunted. Enter Alchemy. Porygon 2 Alchemy, scaling up to +6 because Porygon 2 does not die. It's
well,
on
Alchemy does, though. So I love about +6.
Alchemy definitely dies. That's one thing it loves doing. But Clefable likes to die. Clefable is a premium winner mon. Like, there are some mons that like we go off of vibes, off of a lot of amorphous draft league experience. Clefable tends to be drafted by winners. Caesar too, in my opinion. I think they're
really
winner
like
mons. They're so threatening, and Palafin will figure that one out. I have one question though, like, were we drinking so much that we were so dehydrated that we forgot how do we beat a water type? We have nothing except this Pincurchin, and this Pincurchin is so bad. Why does it have 48 HP? It's not a Pokemon.
And that's
Maybe.
especially bad because your main sweeper on this team, I feel like, is Palafin, that literally cannot touch water types even neutrally. So that is a big potential issue.
Dragable Thunderbolt in electric terrain. It's gonna save the team.
Yeah,
Team's a lot. That's my main verdict. It's a lot, and it might be amazing, but it might also be like J-Star could be just be clicking buttons over there, or they could be a genius, and it could be both.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a very confusing team for me because it's like you're right. We have very big highs and low lows, but it's like the in between is just like scrambling my head. It's like, how are you enabling these middle mons? It's like I don't like you have Tailwind for the Braviary, which is like not great as a Tailwind setter.
Not Bravian shopped.
It's not fast, and it is not very like
Kind of good.
It's good, but like, do you
It's
really
fine, but I'd rather be close combated with my Braviary.
or clicking Brave Bird or something? Or,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, it almost feels like there's like too much investment in support as well. It's like Clefable, Porygon 2, so good. Alchemy, for the support of just Hitmontop support. It's like, and then at the end, you have a Palafin, a Scissor, a Dragapult, a Braviary, and then some babies that don't really do much. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't really have
You're
much.
very right that too much attention is on Caesar. Its job is to go undetected and to not draw multiple fire moves a week. And when it's one of your main threats, it will, unfortunately, draw multiple fire moves.
I guess that's Clefable's job, is to
Yes, that is also...
get set on fire.
Can do anything. That said, it's like, we have so much power here. Like, we're both so fast and so slow that you don't bother playing Speed Wars, and we have elite priority. Like, we gotta respect the strengths here, and sometimes Caesar does takes the team and puts it on its back and carries it, and revenge KOs from 30% or from 60% with a bullet punch, depending on how you've done it. Palafin with a jet punch can save your game. It is incredibly good at going first, and is incredibly good at getting Clefable killed.
What on this team wants to switch into Palafin's spot and take the hits for Palafin to get it to be good?
Porygon 2.
I mean, that's also just Porygon. Like, it's we're leaning on these same couple of mons so much that they can kind of just get targeted.
Take the Intimidate there.
Or no, that's where you switch in your Pincurchin. That's the reason you brought him to the match, is just to soak up that hit. You just kill the Pincurchin. Now you're 3v4, but Palafin is a hero now. That's
and
the
can't
vision.
fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Anti-sleep team.
It's the tech. The team's awesome. It seems awesome. It needs to make a move, like a grass type, some better grass move to just beat the water types. But like it's cooking here. It is cooking with incredible spicy pieces.
What are you cutting to add something like that? Like, what's the disposable piece?
I don't know,
here?
because they spent like a drunken sailor in the first half of the draft, so they don't have any points. So that's where the team ends up incomplete. So if they can find a way to get Clefable at home, or Caesar at home, or Hitmontop at home, or one of these, probably Hitmontop could be downgraded, and then you get a real new threat that can be water types.
Yeah, I feel like
it's very good, and it could totally win 6 matches out of 7. It could win all the matches.
It could.
That's as much as I can say about this game.
I just don't get
this
it. This
top 6 is 89 of the 110 points.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's so
That's so many.
Yeah.
He balled
I don't know
out.
if it's literally the highest percentage of like points in the top 6 Pokemon, but it's got to be close.
It's got to be close. Can you just bring that 6? Does that 6 looks like it wants something else? Unless it is just like, hey, these 4 support Pokemon are setting me up so that I can sweep with Scizor or sweep with Palafin.
Yeah, so I agree.
It's a lot of work.
It looks well. I mean, that sounds exciting to me, Pancake. Like honestly, I'm gonna put top B. After all the nonsense, it's really good to me.
Yeah,
I believe pretty strongly.
Yeah,
top 6 does look like it wants something, but I don't think what it wants is the bottom 5.
Yeah, so, my brain cannot put this in B tier. I think this is going to be top of C for me for now. I just don't get it. I believe that it will win games. I cannot comprehend it, so I can't rate it that highly.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't hate it, but I'm with Sakaba. I don't really get the super top heavy teams as well. Like I have trouble. I have trouble figuring out if they're good or not. I have trouble prepping against them. Like
I don't know.
It's just
this is hurting my brain.
Under the logo, J-Star.
Pinterest to the logo. Okay, moving on. Woo!
Okay.
Phoenix Suns poppin'. He's not here yet, but we're gonna talk about his team. Rain team, Aludon, funny bridge guy team. How about that?
Busted.
Mon's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. And Pelipper next to it is like absolutely the start you want. That's like those two. I feel like you can put so much next to it, and it's like, all right, it's fine. And then he's got Floatzel next to it, Palafin's cousin, Palafin's strongest wave crash.
You mean better Palafin?
Better Palafin, exactly.
I'll never forget Jordan styling on me week 1 with Floatzel. I did not respect it at all.
So long ago.
Oh right, I forgot that Floatzel then didn't do anything else. But
I literally did not respect it.
One week.
I still remember being like, oh man, Floatzel really good.
I really think it's almost impossible to end up with a bad draft after you start with these 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's like I feel like getting a Rain Core with Arch Aludon is like it's like the easiest draft mode ever. It's like you just start taking things that synergize with Rain and you just kill it. Like I don't know, this Poppin got some good value on the tail end, I think. I really like the Floatzel as a Rain abuser in lieu of like a Basket Legion or something more expensive. Save those points to round out the rest of the team, and it can be just as threatening in the right scenario. I know he was talking up Charizard a lot as a potential Rain abuser with Hurricane. Interesting, because you do limit that. You're limiting Charizard's potential by not utilizing Solar Power, also weakening its own fire moves. I like Ribombee as speed control and shield dust.
I'm gonna stop you because I don't want to get off Charizard yet. Charizard is just on Rain teams in draft leagues in Gen 9. Like it just
really strong
happens a lot. It's so funny to me that Charizard has become like a good budget Rain Pokemon, right? Hurricanes
7. It's so good. It's incredible.
Ball,
that's true. That is
base 100 speed.
And like Poppin was talking about when he drafted it, it's like
crazy.
You can take my Rain away. I will just now start clicking my fire moves on my Charizard while my Pelipper switches out.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. It's shown up on a lot of Rain teams.
Are these Mons not like winners? Like I guess I got a lot of stories with a lot of them, but like we all can feel these Mons as Mons that have taken sets off of us and have taken sets off of us where we're like, I can't beat this thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not bulky enough. These Mons are really, really good. Some of it is beyond my comprehension. It's on the plane where only Poppin exists. But I mean, it seems really strong, and I wish I had more insightful analysis than this. But Poppin, watch his content. You'll figure it all out.
He's got the Sinistra back again. Back on the
He's got the plushie too. I saw that in the other review he was putting up to the camera. A Sinistra enthusiast. Yeah, I mean, Jordan, you were the other Arch Aludon drafter. Do you like what do you look for in a team when you were drafting this behemoth in a format like this? What are you trying to add to support it?
It got stupid numbers, so everything. It works with everything because it can act like anything with specs or assault vest or safety goggles or covert cloak or whatever. So it's just really, 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 really broken. Poppin is maximizing the number of his tools, and it's just about which ones he brings together in the team builder. He basically has every ingredient that he needs. What is he missing? I guess that's my question to y'all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid team. I mean, you know,
Trick
I don't
Room
care about
Abuser, that's not
Morpeko, but
Munchlax,
that's
maybe?
a 2-point Pokemon. Like, I don't really care about Vileplume, but that's a 4-point Pokemon. Like,
Munchlax the God.
I mean,
yeah,
like,
Munchlax
I
at
think it's
one
gonna be
point
fine at 2 points.
is...
Munchlax is
Morpeko gets
fine.
really fast really quickly.
I mean, yeah. I'd say that's like the one weak spot on the team is just that like the slow mode is not like excellent, but it might not matter when you have redirection and you have a mon as bulky as Archaludon and you have ways to pivot. Like maybe it doesn't matter, but you know, just trying to find some flaw, I would say. That's one.
It's a very fair place to look. But that said, have you looked at Slowking Galar's move pool? Have you ever don't do it standing up because you're gonna fall over.
It does have a lot, but can it do it on its own? I don't think
everything.
It's not a one-mon slow mode though. It's just a good abuser of it after it's been set up.
One-mon team.
Yeah. Maybe another thing you could say is that outside of the
honestly,
Archaludon,
where are y'all at with power rankings wise with this team? Because we all have so many opinions we can't put into words, but at some point it's got to go on the tier list. And I feel I feel like I'm going to be way more of a believer than everyone else. Are y'all putting it in A? You're putting it in B? You're putting it in S?
I think you have to put Archaludon, Pelipper in A.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like, because we're looking at the other mons, we're like, yeah, these mons are going to be able to do their thing, and that's after we've dealt with Pelipper Archaludon. So
Yeah.
I think I do agree. This is an A tier team.
I got low A tier. I think
second best choice.
I think I have it
this.
below the other two teams we looked at earlier, but it is very good and it's going to be great.
This team is clearly top tier. Come on, guys. Come on.
Hey, I put it in A tier. Just saying.
All right, that's the second best choice.
All right. Next up, we got Bobby.
Oh.
Bobby
yuck.
Blim, the Ursaluna Blood Moon. There it is. Look at him. This thing shouldn't even be on the board. Come on. This is so stupid.
Yeah,
it's
fair,
so ridiculous. So you're drafting Ursaluna Blood Moon with the first pick. How are you following it up, right? So Bobby went in the direction. We want to get the Torkoal. We want to get the Rillaboom, the Farigiraf. Very top-heavy first 4 picks. I mean, that's an incredible amount of points.
This is a top-heavy draft that I can follow.
Yeah. I'm looking at the same 6 every week, and that 6 is really scary to me.
Yeah, I mean...
And then you've got Chinchino and Tentacruel if you need them. And then if you really need them for some reason, I guess you've got Dragonair and Seviper. But
yeah.
I mean, when you've got Ursaluna Blood Moon at the top end, we can get rid of these 3. Like it's
fair.
It's an 8-mon team.
It's
really.
an 8-mon team.
And really, it's a 5 of these 6 plus 1 of the 2 type of team, really. But
yeah, so I mean, listen, obviously a team with Ursaluna Blood Moon is gonna pack a punch, just given that this mon on its own is a prep nightmare. It's almost impossible to plan around this unless you have some sort of special tool available, like a Levitate mon, where you can dodge the ground types and then Terra to dodge the normal types. But otherwise, it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? It's very hard to mitigate this mon's damage, given its coverage and its very stupid ability that they gave it for some reason.
Yep.
That being said, 19 points for Torkoal, right? It's like, yeah, Torkoal's great. Like, I love Torkoal on a Sun team with the Sunroom team. But, like, is this really a Sunroom team? Like, I don't know that it is. Like, you have Torkoal as, like, your main Trick Room abuser alongside the Ursaluna. You have the Lilligant as the sole Sun abuser. But outside of that, like, the rest of the team doesn't really hold on to that identity. Like, we also have a Rillaboom and a Drifblim, like a Grassy Seed terrain team mode going on. Like, I almost wish they committed to one or the other, where it was like, this is a Sunroom team. I'm going to get a really good, Trick Room abuser to go along my Torkoal and my Blood Moon. And then I'm also going to get another Sun abuser. I'm going to grab the Charizard. I'm going to grab some Chlorophyll Mon in addition to Lilligant. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lilligant's enough to just occupy that Sun mode. But I almost feel like it's trying to do 2 different things. And when you're going to go this top heavy, I wish it had a more complete identity.
Yeah. I look at this team and I see, like, I see 3 pairs of solid leads. You can do like fast sun mode, slow sun mode, or hard trick room, or like the driftland mode, and just like doing one of those things just fine, and just being like a pain to prep against, because like you don't know which lead is going to show up. But if you can like get yourself past the lead, I think that's going to be a team that you can put some damage into.
I found it really hard to fight Ursaluna Blood Moon the one time where I fought like random bulky mons, and like this team is random bulky game-winning mons, and it's really hard to beat them even when you know you can take control of the game. Sometimes they just kill you anyway, and Rillaboom can kind of do that. But I know that like this team's almost perfect with the synergies, but like drafting is so hard, and then you end up with a Rillaboom and a Lilligant, and I think the Rillaboom might have to go here. Is there any way that we can like invest that much in grass type attackers that aim to go first?
Especially when you're.
I mean, like Lilligant's amazing. Like ultimately, I just believe in the Lilligant more with the triple axle and close combat stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Rillaboom's a lot of points. You can turn that into 2 mid-tier mons that we're really happy about.
High tiers in
or Arcanine Hisui, which is still on the table.
Yeah, I do think you lose a lot of
Arcanine Hisui. Holy, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah. I do think you lose like part of why you drafted Driftblim if you don't have like reliable ways to get Driftblim going first with Unburden.
Real.
Everyone uses Driftblim, loves him. I know they usually have a terrain, but like the Mong would be just fine. That's my counterpoint. I'm saying you might be right, but like, what if it's just fine?
Yeah,
and we have
it might be, especially since you only had to pay 11 points for it.
Like Shadow Ball, Strength Sap.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well that this team is a bit weak to wide guard. You're relying on Eruption a lot, Heat Wave, Hyper Voice from Farigiraf and Ursaluna Blood Moon. Luckily, wide guard's distribution is pretty bad, so a lot of teams won't have it as a tool. But given that
it's on a lot of rock types that die to Lilligant, Rillaboom, and Ursaluna Blood Moon.
Fair.
I think this team needs to trade Rillaboom for Arcanine Hisui. Once you said it, I just dreamed. That's how you do it. You force the issue. It's impossible to beat that plus Ursaluna. Like, simplify the game. We often overcomplicate the game. I think that's what this team might need. Can this team make the B tier? I think it does for me, but maybe I'm believing again. That's just what I do.
I'm happy to put it in B tier because I think this top 6, even though it is like very specific, has just enough flexibility that I'm like, okay, if I lead wrong, I might just find myself blown out.
Yeah,
could even do that most of the season. Isn't it possible?
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it low B tier. I think I like it better than J-Star's team just because it packs a little more immediate power. But
yeah, I'm with you there as well.
Yeah,
I actually have it above Spinarak's team as well, but yeah.
That's reasonable. All right, last team of the session here. Oh no.
Silly Seals. So
Silly Seals.
Oh no.
I don't think we're gonna spend a ton of time on
guys. What did we do? What have we done as a server?
So, I do have some thoughts on this team. Number one, this is by far the most punishing draft gimmick of any coach ever. This is brutal. I cannot believe Braff didn't just pull the plug after Gyarados. This is
awesome.
Miserable. I don't think Braff is going to have a very fun time with this team, if I'm being honest, because it just doesn't really function as a draft league team.
Braff's going to make playoffs. What are you talking about?
He'll find a way.
No, I think someone's going to bring a grass type and Braff's going to lose.
Gothitelle has to just pick up these other 10 Pokemon and Braff and just carry them to a 2-5 season or something like that.
I genuinely think this team's best win condition is Perish Trap.
That's what I'm saying. It's Perish Trap. Multiple Perish Song, multiple real Perish Song users too.
Perry Dondozo. Have fun with that.
But yeah, I mean Dondozo is bulky and just doesn't die. Gudra also is bulky and
Guja's
just
really
die.
bulky. Yeah.
But like, this just isn't a real team, guys.
Okay, but have you
It
considered?
is a real team. I mean, it's on the dock.
All right,
It is.
have you
in
considered
a sort of tautological sense?
Rain?
It's a real team.
Rain team plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 water types. We're talking multipliers, damage multipliers, and we're talking. Wait, does Gudra not get the rain move anymore? The Hisui version.
No,
doesn't
Hisui Gudra doesn't get the raid support.
Okay, that's okay. Because we've got 6 water types to abuse
Yeah,
that
it's
rain.
fine. We're
It's all
just
good.
clicking
It's okay.
Wave Crash until your team dies.
Yeah.
Easy.
And then they. Yeah,
Guys,
no,
this team is gonna make playoffs. I'm telling you. Like, no, it's not even in D tier. It's got to be in C. It's viable. It's totally viable.
Special
Hurricane all the time.
Special Intimidate Hurricane Gyarados for the 3 grass types your opponent's bringing. Just specs Hurricane Gyarados.
It's good. It's fine.
I mean, the funniest part is that like he's actually gonna win some games, and it's gonna be really funny. I just hope.
I think so too.
You know what we forgot to mention? Seals Sheer Cold.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
C tier.
It doesn't even let me put that on.
This is the most punishing gimmick in Draft League history. I really don't. I commend Braff for even going through with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
a lot of power.
I'm
it's like all water types, but it is a lot of power, isn't it? Like
yeah, it could. It honestly, it could have been way worse if we're being.
It could have been way worse.
I'm predicting 2 and 5.
Somehow this team spent more points than your boys' team, which we're going to talk about in the next one. But
Jordan says makes playoffs. No. I say 2 and 5.
I don't know about that. I mean, listen, B-Braff always finds a way to make playoffs with these gimmick teams, but this one would be really extraordinary.
I think
he's also a college freshman of the time. How much time does he have to prep with this team?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. That is one division down of the Goggles Conference. Tomorrow, we're going to hit you with the second half. We're going to talk about these next 8 teams. We're going to take a brief intermission. We'll get that out to you guys ASAP. And other than that, have a great night, everybody. Peace out.
Love you, Sukaba. Thanks for hosting and organizing.
Of course.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way to end, huh?
How about it?